Well, good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are tuning in from. Seeing from the comments, I am seeing we are coast to coast. We've got Washington, Florida, Pennsylvania, all over today. Thank you guys for joining us. I know we have a bit of a schedule change for the month of November, but we're happy that you're here with us the second Thursday in November. My name is Meredith Smith. I'm here with Juliana, DCE, and we are going to be talking about a number of things this month. Registration happened just last week, was a thing that happened. Yes. And we have loved seeing your envelopes coming to our office. I actually have a couple of them sitting right next to me. This was one of my favorites. It's a lobster. All these people, they're called the Lobster Boys, coming from all the way from Massachusetts. So if you have not sent in your envelopes, please do so. We love seeing them in our office. And it is just a fun time for us to go through those. And it's just a fun project for all of us, and it's fun to get your youth involved, right? And just a quick note, stay tuned to our social media because I might be posting some of our favorite ones and tagging your youth groups or your congregations if you provided that on your envelope. So make sure your youth are looking out for that online. As we have all experienced, just an update from our office, we experienced in the last 18 months a lot of uncertainty. I know we've heard that about a million times in different platforms in different ways. So we didn't really quite know what to expect in our office with registration. We were very hopeful for a large number. We just didn't know what was going to happen. And you guys just blew it out of the park. Like definitely speechless in our office by how many registrations. We have seen thousands of youth and adults names come through in envelopes and on the new registration system. So we are just so thankful for you guys and the work that you've put into doing registration and getting your youth involved and getting them pumped for next summer to be in Houston. We're just so thankful. Like I really am speechless. I can't say enough of how just happy we are that you guys are coming to the gathering.
Yeah, I mean, I think we said this on the last podcast we did for the gathering, but I think it's worth saying again, like we pray for you and your youth all the time, and have been praying and thinking about, what was going to happen at the gathering all the way back from like theme meeting, right, and evaluation meeting, and talking about this, and it's such a part of what we do in our prayers and our preparation, both our staff and all of the planners. And so it is a beautiful moment when we start to get those envelopes and start to put church names and names, your youth names into that, and that we can really start to see how God is pulling all of these things together and pushing us towards what we're going to experience in Houston. And it gets us really excited. It gets our planners really excited. We've had some really great planning meetings in the last couple of months as well. So just thrilled, and hopefully you guys are as well. Meredith just dropped a question in the chat. And I want to see this because I am really fascinated by this. So if you have sent in your registration, please share a GIF to describe how you were feeling about this. If you are a leader, just like if you can, like we'd love to hear kind of how you're feeling about the situation that we're in right now. And we do want to take just a couple of minutes for us to kind of walk through some key things, just really reminders, because it's stuff you've heard us say before. And then for you to drop any questions that you have into the chat. So if you're in a spot where you're like, man, I still think we have this question outstanding, and you want to hear more from us, that's great. But we are going to kind of go through some of those registration reminders. And the first one is going to be, there is still plenty of time to get your registration in. So it's okay. You have months left to get your registration in if you haven't yet. And there's still plenty of time for you to add young people or adults to your group, right? So just because you sent in your registration November 1st, if you have someone who comes to you on Sunday and says, hey, I would still like to go to the gathering, it's that possibility. Certainly you have to go by whatever policies you have in place in your youth ministry, but we would say on our end, we would still absolutely invite that young person to come and be a part of that. So please don't think that if you haven't started yet, that you're too late. And please don't think like if I've sent my stuff in, there's no way to change it or to add young people to that group, because you absolutely can.
Absolutely. And for those of you who haven't, maybe you might feel a little behind, like Juliana said, you're not behind. We just want to make sure that you're mailing in the correct paperwork. There are a couple of forms that you have to mail in. I know we had a couple of questions come in of like, well, what's the difference between online registration and mail-in registration? There's a couple of things you have to mail in. You cannot do them online. And while you can enter in your youth, your adults, your primary adult leader, you can enter that all online. And once you've done that, you're going to have that pastoral affirmation form and your registration account form. So please make sure that that info is correct and signed. I know we had somebody come in last week and just forgot to sign their paperwork. So had to come back in and get that signed. And if you have special needs in your group, make sure that form. And if you're using LCEF, you will need to use the LCEF account form. And all that is on the Gathering website or in the registration program, along with your deposit, which you can find, the correct forms of payment in the Gathering registration book, which of course I have sitting right next to me, like I always do. So we've got questions on that, please let us know. But we want to talk about some of these important dates that you maybe should have on your calendar, or at least keep in the back of your mind as you're going through your registration. You've heard us say in a lot of the past Gathering Update lives, all of this information is found in the registration book. So let's go into these dates. The registration fee right now, I believe, is $395, but on March 1st, 2022, it will go up to $450 per participant. That's youth and adults. So like we said, we've got some youth that want to come in a little bit later. We'd encourage you to get them in before that March 1st date to save yourself a little bit of money, but know that they can come in after March 1st. Now, you can still add and substitute your participants, but that date is May 31st of 2022. So you've got a little bit more room after that after the registration increase happens to continue to add people. But after May 31st, like, our office cannot do anything else. We've ordered the supplies. We are prepared to have a gathering in about a month and a half after that. So just keep those 2 dates, March 1st for the registration rate increase and May 31st for the last day to substitute and add people.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I'm looking at the comments. I'm not sure people can add gifts, but I do see Mike Hines is at least giving me sunglasses, happy face emoji, which I'm thinking is good.
Yes.
All right, we're going to be at Houston. You're going to need to pack your sunglasses. Get some thumbs up there. I love that. I did say before, like, when you're going to add those participants, we do want to keep in mind, and this is not a hard deadline, but it is a date to kind of keep in your head, which is when we bring in our hotels. You've heard us say that hotels are going to be done by the date that they're postmarked when they come into our office, and you've kind of heard us say that before. The thing that we do want to keep in mind is if you add a number of young people and adults, we are super pumped for that, but that may change your hotel if that happens after January, right? So we start putting people the long and arduous and intensive process, and I say, but I mean Krista. So like, not me or Meredith, so don't ask us because we have no control over that. But in our office, the royal we, in our office, we start doing hotels at that point. And if you add a lot, that may mean you need to adjust your hotel. So do keep in mind that we really want to make sure that you're getting those things in as early as you possibly can, just so that you don't impact that. And when you do add them, you want to add, and you want to make sure you print a new pastoral affirmation form and registration account form, and then send that along with any additional payment, so your down payment that you need to make with that. Now, we know we've heard this a little bit, and we want to make sure that people are reminded. Again, hopefully you've already heard us say this, that we begin to assign that housing in that hotels, and that every hotel is going to be a little different. Let me try that one more time. I'm having a hard time with English today. Right? Everybody's going to have a little different. So every hotel is slightly different. But if you're budgeting, the price point that we're giving you right now is that you're going to expect to pay $180 plus tax per night per room, right? So that is the per night per room rate. So if you have 4 young people in that room, you split it kind of evenly between them. If you can only have 1 person in that room or 2 people in that room, however you want to adjust that. But it's $180 per night. Yes.
Yep.
What I said, right, okay.
Yep.
Um,
You got it. You're right on, girl.
Anybody else is like just a little, right? So we know that that's, that's something that people really is a big chunk of your budget. And we want to be able to help you as much as possible. So we've negotiated the rates that we can, but that's the note that we have on that. And it is a reminder for you to think about those taxes can go down fairly significantly if you file for tax exempt status in Texas. So I know some of you have already done this. I've even seen some people who said, I went and looked myself up and previous gatherings had already done this and it's ready. No, you want to make sure to double check that. Don't just assume that that's true. But we want to encourage you to do that process early so that the comptroller's office has a chance to be able to process that appropriately if they need to and get you the information that you need. Now, if you don't, you can always go back and ask for, send in that information, get tax given back to you on the back end of that. But we really encourage you to go through that process. If you have some confusion, certainly go to the Facebook page and type in the search bar tax exempt or any of those keywords. You're going to pop up a bunch of threads, people who have done this, people who have walked through it, who are going to give you some good insights. So if that's something that's a concern for you, definitely make sure we want people to do that so that they can kind of get the best rate possible on their hotels. I think Meredith
Anne Marie asked
the
a question about
on top of it. I love it.
Anne Marie asked a question about sending in
from somebody about their registration. That's fantastic. So I'm seeing somebody ask, how do we send in the tax exempt stuff? Just follow that link to the comptroller's office. It'll walk you through it.
Yeah. Just a reminder.
Go ahead, Meredith.
Just a reminder. So our office, the gathering office, the youth ministry office, we don't have access to any of your tax exempt, the status, the process, that is all done through the comptroller. So if you are emailing or calling our office, all we can really do is point you to this website and to fill out those or to follow those steps to get your tax exempt status or to check your tax exempt status.
Yeah, fantastic. Also, a deadline. You have the exempt status. Now what? Oh, then you just hold on to it. That's paperwork you're going to bring with you to your hotel. And you can give it to your hotel and they're going to be able to take off a portion of this, or they're able to take off the state tax off of your hotel rooms. Hopefully that helps. If you have other questions on that, feel free to email us.
Yes.
Or in the comments. Is it a good standing for interesting? Jim, I would I'm seeing some questions about some like specific instances of trouble with that. If you have something that's maybe unique to you or your church or something like that, please let us know in our office. You can email us or even maybe email your district coordinator. They may be able to help you with some of that as well. I will say a deadline you do need to think about that happens this year still is the YAV deadline. YAV applications are open right now. If you don't know, YAV stands for Young Adult Volunteer, or sometimes we call them Orange Nation. They're the ones in the bright orange shirts that are all around the gathering doing a plethora of different things, serving their hearts out and just being an incredibly powerful component of the gathering. We are incredibly grateful for all of our YAVs. I've been so blessed to get to know and to work with a lot of YAVs in the last 2 cycles, and they're just a fantastic group of young people, and a great opportunity for young people from across the country to be able to come together and to serve together, but to build lifelong relationships with each other and support of each other. So we love our YAVs. The deadline to apply to be a YAV is December 31st. So if you have young people in your church or young people you know and love and you want them to be YAVs, make sure they're getting the registration in. Make sure that they are registering. It doesn't take long. We really want them to register. That's going to close December 31st. So in the middle of all of their finals, finishing their semester, be sure to remind them that they need to get that registration in. because they're just such a fantastic part of our gathering.
Absolutely. And as a former YAV myself, I can't express enough how great of an opportunity this is to serve. I'm still friends with some of the people I served with at the gathering in 2013. So I am a big supporter of our young adult volunteers and would encourage you guys to talk to any of those 19 to 25-year-olds who you think are willing to serve, have servant hearts, and just want to give back to the youth and adults. One thing we have heard a number of young adults saying, well, I'm not sure what I'm doing next summer, or I might have an internship. We encourage those young adults to still apply. The power is in your hand after they get accepted. They are allowed to confirm their application, or they can decline the offer to serve. But after December 31st, we cannot have a special exception or let them in under just a special circumstance. So even if they're a little unsure of what's going on, we do encourage them to still sign up to serve as a YAB, and then maybe decide at a later date after those acceptance letters have gone out. However, if they really are unsure, but they're like, we can serve, the gathering starts on a Saturday and Sunday, and I don't have anything going on the weekend. Just a reminder, we do have our Team Flex applications that are open. This is a flexible gathering opportunity if you just want to serve 4 hours, 2 days out of the gathering, or if you want to serve all 5 days of the gathering. There's a lot of different areas of service that we're going to need those volunteers at. And that application is actually open until April 30th of 2022. So a little bit more time. I know we just went to Houston and hosted a couple of local volunteer rallies, and they're going to keep going on. So I know that the city of Houston volunteers are super excited to serve and be around all of these young people and their adult leaders and just help in any way possible. So we've got those are another couple dates to add to your list of important dates when it comes to gathering. We're just going to keep giving a list. You can just say like, hey, Siri, put March 1st in my phone, right?
And if you are like, you are throwing out dates and I am overwhelmed, if you go to the website, go to the resources, there's an 18-month calendar that has all the deadlines in, print that sucker off, put it up somewhere, use it to put everything into your Outlook, which is what I do. Because it's not in my Outlook, it doesn't exist. So yeah, you can go through and do all of those things. But yeah, we love Team Flex. Last time in Minneapolis, we just had a ton of Team Flex. I had some that served in the youth booth with me, and they just did a phenomenal job. I know they did across the gathering. So you have people who are able to come for a day or two. They do get credentials to come into gathering like events and programming for the days that they serve. So that is something that they will get to do, which is really fantastic. Looking at our time and thinking, oh man, we've got a few other things that we need to tell you. But also I love that I'm seeing some question and conversation. Looks like people are getting some questions answered in the comments. Drop any more questions that you have. Just a reminder that our Adult Leader Resource Team is continuing to put out resources. So last month we uploaded a bunch of different, it was a bit of a hodgepodge, but a lot of it was things to think about really as you're getting close to the gathering. So that things included like the packing list. Now, something like the packing list might get an edit when we get closer to, if we know that we need you to add a few other things to your list, but it at least gives you a basic idea of the things that we're going to suggest when you're coming to the gathering and kind of basic items. I am really curious, and not to interrupt the good conversations happening in the chat, but if you've been to the gathering before and you are an adult leader, what is maybe one thing that you feel like you definitely want to make sure you pack, or that you want to suggest that other people pack? Maybe just as an adult leader, or maybe suggestions for your youth to pack. But like, what are your like absolute musts? I have to make sure that this is on my packing list. For me, it was always extra like external chargers. Like,
oh, that's a good one.
Like, and more than just for me, because there are always going to be teenagers who are like, my phone is at 5% and you need to talk to me. And I was like, yes, and I need you to plug this thing in right now, right? So a couple of really good solid external chargers can really save the day when it comes to packing. Anybody else? Oh, deodorant. Yes.
That goes for the youth too.
It is going to be very sweaty and slightly stinky in Houston this summer, but that's okay.
Yes. Granola
Small
bars.
first aid kit. Yes, with those moleskin. I saw somebody like mentioning, right, like different things that you use for blisters, right? Super important. Lots of granola bars. Yes, umbrellas. Because we're that close to the water, sometimes it rains, and you still got to get places. Yeah. They do really, they make really fun, fantastic small first aid kits now that are really helpful. Yeah, I love that deck of cards, right? So there are some really fantastic, very small, compact games that you can take with you depending on your group. Whether and like trying to think of some other ones. We've packed Uno. We've
Like bananagrams. I've seen people playing bananagrams.
Bananagrams super small.
Yeah.
Go taco cat cheese pizza, right? Like that's right. There's it's a card game. It's really funny. Right? It's like things that are really short as you kind of have some time that's downtime that's waiting, right? Oh, chafing sticks, right? Yeah. Good walking shoes. And consider start practicing making sure that you can get all your steps in, because this thing is a lot of steps, and breaking some good shoes because we're going to be having you walk quite a lot. So just a few other things, like obviously there's other resources. We are going to have another drop of resources in December that will be kind of focused around parents and how to incorporate and engage parents in the process, both pre and during and post gathering. And then we'll do a final drop of resources in February, and that will be where you'll, well, we think it will be in February question mark. Will be things like the final release forms, some other pieces that kind of last pieces, commissioning service, that kind of thing. So Meredith, am I missing anything there?
Yeah, so you also want to keep in mind that we're going to be releasing at least 4 more Bible studies for pre-gathering Bible studies set to come out early in 2022. So you can look forward to that. I've seen a little bit of conversation already happening in the group about using those, but there are more coming. There are at least 4 on my radar that I know are coming out soon. So if you're looking at your schedules, trying to plan out your gathering meetings between January and July, you can make sure to put those on your list of things to do.
Yeah. Ooh, somebody also said sweater. If you've not been to the South in the summer, it is very hot and humid outside. But consequently, they keep the inside iceberg temperature. So you do sometimes need inside layers, just in case people get extra cold. Yeah,
yes.
We have plenty of other resources coming out, and certainly continue to keep your questions coming, your questions on the Facebook group, your questions to us and to our office, your questions to your district coordinators. All of that is super helpful, both for us in making sure that you have all the information that you need to feel successful and to have an awesome and fantastic and blessed event. We do want to hear from you. So if you've got kind of this lingering question, you just feel like you're missing it, like there's, let us know. There's lots of people who want to be on your team and help support you. I love the great discussions I've seen on fundraising and the great discussions I've seen on how do you navigate picking your adult leaders and training your adult leaders, and how do you do your all sorts of things that you're helping each other with in the Facebook group. That's so encouraging for me, because certainly we have things that we say at our office, but you guys are in it taking your groups, and so the support you give each other is incredibly valuable. So thanks for contributing to that. Thanks for asking good questions. And then I'm looking and seeing if we have any last minute questions. Okay, yes. So somebody said the closing service, what time's the closing service is the morning of the 13th, and we will be done with programming by noon. So if you're
we give advice that if your group is flying, about a 2 o'clock flight is probably the earliest you would want to look for flights that day. But if you're driving, plan to leave around lunchtime.
Yeah, so that's when the programming is done. Hotels will be sent to you in the spring. We can get more specific than that right now, but I know there's like things that you're going to be able to see online with our new software, but you will get to hear about your hotels in the springtime. So there's going to be things that you're going to see on that, like when we get your initial check, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get your hotels until spring. Trying to think, anybody else? I'm not seeing anything else. Meredith?
I think we're good. We have a lot to look forward to in the next coming months, in the next coming year. And just as Juliana, just to reiterate, we are praying for you guys and your youth and your congregations. And as always, our Facebook group is open. Your district coordinators are still available. If you have not connected with them, head over to the Gathering website and make sure you're connected with them as they're starting to plan their district events and get ready to get you guys involved. I'm just real quick, sorry, I glanced down and saw a question about when will we receive confirmation that our registration has been received. As you can imagine, we are getting lots and lots of registrations every single day. So we are getting them in, and our Gathering assistant registrars are processing those. So we're hoping by the end of the year that you guys will start to see that reflected in your registration accounts. But just keep in mind that it is lots and lots of envelopes and lots of forms to go through. So we are working diligently to get that information as updated as quickly as possible.
And it will go into our system when we are able to enter it. You will be able to go into the system and see that it's been entered, right? But that is going to happen gradually over the course of many months. So please don't like, I got my information, right? And the person next to you panics because they haven't yet gotten that, right? Think big piles. We're doing so many at a time, right? So it's going to happen gradually, and everyone will have it by the end of the year, right? Is right. Meredith, am I saying that right? Right. Yeah. So for some of you, it's going to start to pop up, and people might think like, oh no, something's happened. We don't panic.
Yes, no need to panic.
It's a long process, and the new software tells you immediately versus the previous software where we sent it all out at once. So be gracious in that, and don't look next door on this one, because we'll let you know.
Well, guys, it looks like we are out of time. We are so glad that you could join us and be flexible with us this month. And we will get to see you in just a couple more weeks for our December last Gathering Update Live of 2021. Looking forward to that. In the meantime, please feel free to reach out to Gathering registrars at NYG registration at lcms.org, LCMS Youth Ministry Facebook group, or your district coordinators. And we look forward to seeing you guys next month.
Thanks, everybody.